Yesterday and today in IR there is very important current affairs. Particularly for IR students, this is really important. India-Japan relations. India-Japan relations. India and Japan are two large economies and powerful countries in Asia. India and Japan are two large economies and powerful countries in Asia. In fact, Subhash Chandra Bose, INA, Indian National Army, during Second World War fought together against Allied powers, particularly for bringing independence to India, and Japan almost have come up to Meghalaya. After the Second World War, after America bombarding Hiroshima and Nagasaki with a nuclear bomb, Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of independent India, wanted to entertain the children who were panic of war memories. He has sent 2 elephants. Jawaharlal Nehru sent 2 elephants for the Japanese Jew to amuse Japanese children. For the Japanese Jew to amuse Japanese children. India-Japan relations are strategic now, economic, and more importantly political. India is the largest recipient of Japanese ODA, Official Development Assistance. India is the largest recipient of Japanese ODA, Official Development Assistance. Exactly 20 years back, in the year 1998, exactly 20 years back in the year 1998, when India went for Pokhran 2, Operation Shakti, Japan suspended ODA to India, Official Development Assistance to India, and also imposed sanctions on India. And in the year 2007, Shinzo Abe visited India and have spoken about freedom of arc and prosperity. And he has spoken about freedom of arc and prosperity. Connecting the Indo-Pacific region is the aim of freedom of arc and prosperity. India and Japan should be connected like an arc. It should be connected like a semicircle arc. Freedom of arc and prosperity. And India and Japan had CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. India and Japan have CEPA, CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. And from last 10 years, India and Japan are working hard to enhance the economic ties, the trade ties. But even today, the trade have not reached the $20 billion mark. Even today, the trade have not reached the $20 billion mark. Japan and India are striving to increase their defense cooperation Japan and India are striving to increase defense cooperation. But unfortunately, from last 10 years, not even a single important defense project was concluded between India and Japan. Strategically, India and Japan were in Malabar. India, America and Japan is also partnering in Malabar joint exercises. Malabar joint exercises. Strategically, India and Japan are partners in Quad, Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. Strategically, India and Japan are partners in Quad. India, America, Japan and Australia formed Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. And economically, India and Japan now partners in RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Economically, India and Japan partners in RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which is going to start in the near future. Already the talks are over, almost over. And India and Japan have conducted 13th bilateral summit, for which our Prime Minister Modi visited Japan. 13th bilateral summit. Before going to this 13th bilateral summit, Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor is one of the fantastic collaborative projects of Japan. Before that, we have Maruti Suzuki, the first ever international collaboration of India in the automobile sector. That was Maruti Suzuki combination. And till 10 years back, Maruti Suzuki is the highest sold car till 2000, till 18 years back. And Japan India collaboration, Mumbai Ahmedabad high speed train project or bullet train project. Mumbai Ahmedabad high speed train project or bullet train project. And now Japanese companies like Honda, Sony, they are all present in India. Now China is a major contender. China claims almost all of the South China Sea and also laid claims on Senkaku Islands. Senkaku Islands under the control of Japan. SENKAKU. Senkaku Islands under the control of Japan in the East China Sea. This is the contention. Already China have issues with Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, Japan, Taiwan, Brunei in the South China Sea area. Senkaku Islands is a contentious issue between Japan and China. Senkaku Islands are located in East China Sea. Senkaku Islands are located in East China Sea. That bilateral talks between Modi and Abe were fruitful and extensive. They were very fruitful and extensive. They have discussed more about security and safety of Indo-Pacific region. Security and safety of Indo-Pacific region. And they also contended that security and safety of Indo-Pacific region is on bilateral interest. It is on bilateral interest. And they also discussed on nuclear terrorism and terrorism. They also asked Pakistan to condemn terrorism. And they also agreed to sign several, they have signed several agreements with respect to naval cooperation, with respect to high speed rail project. Already high speed rail project initiation was started, and both Modi and Abe, they both have actually reviewed the progress of the high speed rail project implementation. Indo-Japan seeks to have extensive economic and military ties, and they wanted to counterweight China regionally. They wanted to counterweight China regionally. You all know recently India and Japan have self-defense force joint exercise called Dharma Guardian. We have joint exercise for self-defense forces called Dharma Guardian. Both have agreed to protect sovereignty and integrity, freedom of navigation, and seeks resolution of international disputes peacefully. Sovereignty and integrity, freedom of navigation, and they want to seek the resolution of peaceful resolution of international disputes. One of the important points in this Modi's visit to Japan is, as we had earlier with America, 2+2 dialogue. 2+2 dialogue means external affairs ministers, foreign ministers. With America, we had 2+2 dialogue with America. The same now Modi agreed with Japan also. 2+2 dialogue. That means extended relationship and more specific relationship in bilateral and defense issues. And two leaders reviewed the progress of Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train. The two sides have agreed implementation of various defense cooperation issues, and particularly maritime self-defense forces. And they also agreed in digital partnership. To cyberspace, health, defense, ocean to space. In various issues they have discussed. Cyberspace, health, defense, oceans, various things. The two leaders agreed to commence negotiations in the field of acquisition and cross-servicing agreement. Acquisition and cross-servicing agreements in defense. They have agreed to start negotiations in acquisition and cross-servicing agreements in defense. And they also agreed that there is urgent need to reform World Trade Organization. There is an urgent need to reform World Trade Organization. And they also agreed to cooperate in intellectual property rights. And I think you all know, India-Japan shared platform in G4. G4 is organization which was created for UNSC reforms. G4 is organization which was created for United Nations Security Council reforms. India, Brazil, Japan and Germany are the part of G4. In the year 2007, when Shinzo Abe have visited India, he proposed freedom of arc and prosperity. In the Indo-Pacific region. The present agreement is nothing but the extension of this freedom of arc and prosperity. And in the recent last year Shangri-La dialogue, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that India will follow a foreign policy which is neutral towards the Western alliances, which believes in plurality in international relations. And Indo-Japan relations now we need to have a tectonic shift, particularly in defense and economic ties, so that the both countries can have better future together in economic and strategic interest and defense and monetary interests. That's really important. This is India-Japan relations. Done.